I've got a lot of projects like Red Brigade, Great Hunger, but there's been a couple more projects which I've spoken about in the last video, which I've actually made some headway. So we're going to continue painting up for that and for a new sort of project. And we're just going to talk about some of the other stuff I've got going on, talk about a game which has really sort of caught my interest and now has added a bit more painting onto my plate. I also played a game of Trench Crusade this weekend at Dark Star during in Plymouth during the Trench Crusade evening, which was against Prussians, and we were playing with the new grenade changes in the playtest rules, so I've got a couple of thoughts on that. Without much further ado, let's get into painting. So I'm currently working on these Hollow Guard from Tauros Creative. I've already done a couple. There should be a tutorial coming out soon for painting sort of grimdark undead. Gonna continue working on those. I've also got some of the Penitent Brotherhood. So I've got some Stigmata nuns. I've got some sort of more trench pilgrim guys, which I need to get done. And then I've also, on the painting table, got who's going to be my lieutenant for my Red Brigade. I've got a lot to paint, but it's always good fun. So this green is a little bit greener than the other greens I've painted the Hollow Guard with, which is fine because there was a lot of different hues in colour for like World War I German uniforms. So I feel fine with that. I kind of like the variety. It's kind of nice that each one is going to look a little bit different. I played a game on Saturday. My opponent for my campaign game messaged me a couple of days before and said that he wasn't going to be able to make it because of work, which is completely fine. But there was also somebody who was looking for a game, Sly Marbo from the Discord, or Sam. I played against him in his Prussians. It was his first Trench Crusade game, but he was pretty hot on the rules, and he's had experience with like 40k in Kill Team and that sort of stuff. And we decided before the game that we were going to use the playtest rules for the grenades, which was, as of recording, was like released, I think, last week. So list-wise, I was running my Garrison of St. Germanus Black Grail list, which is 700 ducats. A lot has changed since I've last used it. It was just a couple of tweaks here and there. I'll link it down in the description below if you want to have a proper look, but the short rundown is that I had a Lord of Tumors, a Plague Knight, a Herald of Beelzebub, 2 Hounds of the Black Grail, and 3 Grail Thralls. Yeah, I've really enjoyed playing the list. It's got some good mobility with the Herald and the Hounds, and the Lord of Tumors is the Lord of Tumors, and he will eat anything he touches. So that's what I was running. Sam was playing Prussians. I've never played against Prussians before, as I said. He was running a lieutenant with a tank splitter sword. It seems very nasty, and it was nasty, and I was very scared to go up against it. I'll put the rules up now, but long story short, if you have armor, be afraid of the tank splitter. He also had a trench cleric with a submachine gun, he had a yeoman with a musical instrument, 2 shock troopers, and then he had 3 yeomen, 1 with bolt action, 1 with shotgun, and 1 with 2 dual wielding axe and sword. So that's what he was running. A lot of grenades as well. Scenario-wise, we decided to play Claim No Man's Land as it's a nice, simple scenario. 5 objectives, 1 in the center, 2 on each side close to your deployment zone. So I'd have 2 on my side, and then Sam would have 2 on his side. And then you score victory points for holding them at the end of each turn. So just a nice, simple scenario, and we just went on to deployment. deployment-wise, I set up my Lord of Tumors and my Herald of Beelzebub positioned to like try and deal with the center objective. On the right flank, I had my Grail Hound and a Plague Knight. Grail Hound to run up and get that objective, and then the Plague Knight to do whatever he wants to do. On the left flank, I had the other Grail Hound, and then I positioned my 3 thralls together on that flank. So that's how I set up. Sam did a similar thing where he put all of his big units, like his shock troopers, trench cleric, and lieutenant in the center to sort of vie for that position, and then he had yeomen out on the flank to contest those flank objectives. So that was deployment. I'm just gonna do a bit more painting, and then we'll get on to turn 1. So turn 1, like all turn 1s, is very much a lot of maneuvering. I moved up my 2 Plague Hounds to cap my home objective. I then moved my Herald of Beelzebub over towards the center objective, and he took a pot shot at one of the shock troopers, but he failed to hit anything. So first shot of the game was a miss, which was fine. I moved my thralls up towards the sort of center left. I moved up my Plague Knight and my Lord of Tumors into cover near the sort of center objectives, so that on later turns they were going to be able to push up and threaten that center, because that was very much looking like it was going to be the epicenter of the combat, really, because we had a lot of, you know, the shock troopers, lieutenant, trench cleric, and then all my big stuff converging onto that point. My herald then went down, which was sad. One of the, I think it might have been the trench cleric with the submachine gun, managed to bring him down, so that was annoying, but that is what it is. He's very squishy, because he doesn't have that undead fortitude like the rest of the Black Grail stuff, and he's got no option to get any armor. He's very fast, but he is probably one of the squishiest units the Black Grail has access to, and he is a bit expensive, so there's that sort of, he's really fast, but also he's really squishy. So he went down, and that was basically the end of turn 1. We were both capping our home objectives, and the center objective was contested, so we were equal on points at the end of that turn. Turn 2, my dog on the right-hand flank decided to keep still just to keep that objective capped, but he was being shot at by the yeoman with the bolt-action rifle, so in my mind it was only a matter of time before something bad was going to happen to him, but that was a problem for another turn. On my left-hand flank, the Plague Hound decided to move up a little bit, just freeing up that objective so that a Grail Thrall could cap it instead, which meant that he was going to be able to do some extra stuff. My Herald then took another shot at the shock trooper. He did score a hit, but he wasn't able to take him down. Unfortunately, my Herald was then squashed, and he did get squashed, which was sad. On the plus side, my Plague Knight did manage to walk up and shoot the shock trooper with his putrid shotgun and took him out of action, so revenge was swift. Thralls continued to move up, and then Sam moved another shock trooper down and charged my Plague Knight, and nothing came of it. It was just some blood here and there and some infection markers. So nothing too special out of that combat. And then my Lord of Tumors moved up and assisted the Plague Knight in the combat and ate the shock trooper, because it's the Lord of Tumors and he is an absolute beast in combat. He's like the reason I love Black Grail. So that was basically the end of turn 2. The trench cleric was taking pot shots and doing God is with us on the lieutenant, and some grenades were thrown at long range, but it didn't really come into effect. But yeah, so let's move on to turn 3. I'm just doing a little bit more weathering on my lieutenant's cloak. It was going to blue-green, and I just looked at the drummer, and it's a bit more yellow-green for the weathering. So I'm just putting in some Strachan green on the cape. Turn 3, moved up my Plague Knight, threw a grenade, some blood, not too much else happened. I moved up my Lord of Tumors, who had the musical instrument, and he was able to get into close combat with the Lieutenant. He did throw a grenade beforehand, but he was wearing a gas mask, so the additional blood didn't happen, and nothing too special happened for the Lieutenant, but I was able to get the musician down and with a couple of blood on him, which was quite useful. In the combat, on the first swing, it was just blood and infection markers. On the second swing, I was able to remove his tough and bring his Lieutenant down. Now, the Lieutenant was able to stand back up, and he did take a swing at my Lord of Tumors, and caused him to go down with the tank splitter sword, which is, again, very scary, but he wasn't able to get my tough off my Lord of Tumors, which was good. On the far left flank, my dog ran and charged a yeoman, getting into combat. Nothing happened there. It was just a couple of infection markers, nothing too special. One of my Grail Thralls was moving up to sort of threaten that far most left objective, which he was still capping, but they only move 5, so it is quite a slow business. And then on the far right flank, the dog and the yeoman were still in combat, which was fine. So they were still contesting there. So his yeoman with the 2 melee weapons jumped over the top and saved his friend from the Plague Hound, killing the Plague Hound with his axe and sword, taking him out of action, which then freed up that yeoman to begin to move down towards my left flank objective, which he was then going to be threatening to contest on turn 4. So turn 4, finally managed to get rid of the Lieutenant, killed the musician, and he ran and he was going to throw a grenade, but he would have been in range of the grenade. Sam was kind enough to go, "Are you sure about that?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, you got a good point, mate." So I didn't do that. The yeoman on the far left flank ran down, contested my home objective. The dog and the yeoman were still fighting to the bitter end, and the yeoman who had the two weapons, he moved back down onto the objective last turn, and he was just fighting the Grail Thrall, who couldn't get in to contest that objective. Center objective was still contested. My Plague Knight, he was like too far to do anything, so I just moved him in a random direction, and there was only 4 turns of this game, so it ended up being a Prussian victory, 10-9, so it was a very, very close margin between victory and defeat. He was able to get the stuff on the objectives, and congratulations, Sam, for your first Trench Crusade victory. It was an absolute pleasure playing you, and I can't wait to play your Prussians again, be it in casuals or in the campaign, and they look great. So it was a great game. I had a great time, and it was nice to sort of use the new grenade rules, which I'll get talking about in the post-game thoughts. So just do a bit more painting, and we'll get onto that. Couple of post-game thoughts. Deployment, I could have been better. I could have held back some of my Grail Thralls to cover the objectives closer to me. Lord of Tumors, I was so happy with the Lord of Tumors. Absolute demon in close combat, and he was great. But yeah, it's just a positioning thing. But again, we learn, we improve, and we just have a great time whilst doing so. So yeah, had a great time. Now, grenades. Personally, when I first saw them, I was skeptical. Not being able to pick a point on the ground, I don't know, I just didn't like that. Thematically and for personal reasons, which I'll get onto. I kind of enjoyed the sort of fumble aspect to it. If you do roll those snake eyes, I think it's quite funny to have the grenade fall and hit you. So we played the game, and they actually felt quite good. I wasn't really too annoyed about the not being able to throw it into a certain place, like on the board. Now, whilst the not being able to pick a location for grenade doesn't really hurt the Black Grail. It does hurt the court of the Seven-Headed Serpent. Not being able to pick a point on the battlefield, it essentially stops you from hotboxing your Wretched. So that's when you have a group of Wretched close together, you have a Yoke Fiend with gas grenades, and you throw the gas grenade in the center of them, and then you hit all of them. And because the gas grenades has -1 injury dice, the chances of you actually killing your Wretched are quite low, but you do get the blood, and you do get that guaranteed blood because of the gas keyword. So that was like the most effective way of getting blood onto your blood bank, onto your blood battery, so you can use your goetic powers. Now that you can't throw it at a point on the ground, it really screws that sort of gameplay aspect. It's not to be honest, there are changes coming to the Court of the Seven-Headed Serpent, which I am so excited for, because the sort of concept of a blood battery, of a bunch of units which just sit there and generate blood, just feels really uninteractive for you playing it and for your opponent. They literally just sit there out of line of sight, and it just feels like at the moment that's like a prerequisite of playing Court. So I'm excited to see what changes are going to be happening, but to have that sort of the blood battery sort of nerfed basically kind of puts Court in a weird space at the moment until the proposed updates, which I'm looking forward to. I think they're going to be in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully Wretched are going to be able to hit themselves. So fingers crossed. But yeah, and all in all, grenades, I don't mind the changes. I kind of wish you could still pick a point on the ground, but maybe if you put it in the ground, you give it the scatter keyword, so if it does miss, it kind of bounces, which kind of works sort of thematically, like you're throwing it onto the ground. If you miss that spot, it's just that bounce. So besides the projects I have, I've got a couple of personal projects, like I mentioned, the Red Brigade, and then still got my Heretic Naval Raiding Party to do. I also have my updates to my warband, which I need to get painted, so the Hunter of the Left-Hand Path and the Pit Locust. A lot of Great Hunger stuff on the way for the vampire stuff. But outside of the world of Trench Crusade, I have been slowly, and now I'm pretty much going to be doing it, been getting into a Middle-earth strategy battle game. I love The Lord of the Rings, my favourite film series. The Fellowship of the Ring is one of my favourite films. I've been watching a lot of like Lord of the Rings battle reports on YouTube, like Conquest Creations, Gondor Calls for Ale. I've been listening to a load of podcasts, like There and Back Again, a Hobbits podcast. So I've been getting into it, and me and my girlfriend, I'm rereading The Fellowship, but she's reading The Fellowship for the first time. So I've been very much getting immersed into the world of Lord of the Rings and Middle-earth strategy battle game. And one of the guys I play Trench Crusade with, Balthazar or Dan, he's got Middle-earth stuff as well, and we're probably going to be building 500 points of it. And I have some very old Gondor stuff, which I got when I was probably like 12 or 13, which is way too long ago. But got some of these, some warriors, some rangers, but most importantly, I've got Faramir. So I'm gonna be making 500 points of like Garrison of Ithilien, because I also have Frodo, I also have a Sam. I don't have a Gollum, but I've got some Cav, I've got a load of rangers, so I probably have enough for 500 points, but that's like, that's gonna be like happening way behind all the Trench Crusade stuff I've got to do, but that's just going to be like an ongoing project, which if I find the time, I'll just start like chipping away at. But yeah, I've just been really excited about that, as well as obviously still being excited about Trench Crusade, still love the game, great fun. So yeah, I just got really excited about that. So that is something which I'm going to be doing. And if you guys want to see some Lord of the Rings stuff on a whilst I paint, or a more sort of dedicated video, just let me know in the comments below, because it's I'm super excited about it. I've made some pretty good progress, I think. It's been productive, it's been good, and it's been a lot of fun to paint again. If you're still here at the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. It does mean a lot to me, and it helps the channel grow. If you really did enjoy yourself, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It's been great to paint again, and it's been great to talk to all of you about some Trench Crusade and my painting projects. Until next time, I've been painting from the lane. Goodbye.